high intensity or high increment in the frictional forces. Now let us take the tires. How these tires are made up of? These tires are made up of with a hard material in order to have the resistance towards the frictional force. And one more example what I want to say, if you are going on escalators, right, when you are moving on escalators, there is some frictional force opposing the force of this movement of the steps, but still these escalators will be moving with very smooth and fastiness, right? Why? Because they will be applying the oils, that is frictionless oils. They will make the brakes to move very fastly, that means they will be applying the oils on the brakes on the machinery parts in order to make the frictionless and to move the machinery very fastly and smoothly. Okay, this is one good example for reducing of the friction. I have clearly explained increasing and reducing frictions in practical. I hope you understood how to increase and how to reduce the friction. Whenever it is necessary, we can apply those factors. And let us see one more term, that is fluid friction. What do you mean by fluid friction? Fluid friction means that is nothing but the frictional force which is present in the fluids. Fluids means nothing but the gases and liquids are said to be as fluids. They are considered in physical terms or physical terminology as fluids. Now let us take, previously also I have said regarding the oil and the water, that is viscous force is acting and all. That is the information regarding fluid frictions. Now let us take the air. What is the air? It is very light and thin, right? It is not at all weighing much weight when compared to solids and liquids. So, the vehicles moving in the air or in atmosphere, they will be also facing the opposite force, that is frictional force. If you take aeroplanes or birds which are flying in the air, you will be seeing some frictional force is acting on them also simultaneously. But these birds, what they will do with these two wings, they will be balancing the frictional force and at the same time they overcome those frictional force in order to get movement in the air. Thus these two wings of the birds will help in movement of them to avoid or to oppose this frictional force. For example, let us take aeroplanes. Why these aeroplanes are designed in that particular shape only similar to that of birds? Let us take these birds and aeroplanes. Birds and aeroplanes are of similar objects of similar shapes. Let us see that if at all this bird, right, this is the bird. Now here you will be seeing these are the two wings of the bird, and at the same time when you take the aeroplane, assume this as aeroplane, right? Now here you will be having the wing in front, right? And these two wings for aeroplane are also in similar shape for the bird also. That is why as God created these birds in this way in order to oppose or in order to restrict that frictional force, in the same way our scientists have designed these aeroplanes in such a similar way in order to reduce the frictional force which they are facing in the opposite direction. So by this shape we can easily reduce the friction and we can go fastly and smoothly in the journey or in the path what they are traveling. Now let us see another one, that is sliding friction and rolling friction. What do you mean by sliding and rolling? Sliding means is nothing but when an object is thrown from a higher level, that is, let us take this as a mountain, right? Now from this mountain top I have thrown that stone, right? This is the mountain. I have thrown the stone. Now this stone is slided, right? Stone is slided and it is coming to the ground level, right? That is known as sliding of the objects. Now, by compared to the sliding of objects, rolling is better. That means in sliding we will be getting that the whole surface of this stone is in contact with the surface of the mountain, right? Now, because of this total surface in contact with the total surface of mountain, there is high frictional forces are acting on this. So, in order to avoid these high frictional forces acting on this, let us take the rolling part. That is, suppose this is mountain. Let us assume I am taking, for example, I am taking one luggage bag which is containing of wheels, right? Now here I am traveling by carrying my luggage. Now I was just taking my luggage as simple as possible. Why? Because just I am pushing the handle of this luggage box, right? Why? Because I am keeping or I am spending less energy in order to push this luggage bag. Why? Because of these two wheels on the luggage bag, they are making safe. Only little portion is in contact with the platform, right? So little friction is exhibited and little opposing force. Obviously, we will be spending lesser energy to move the rolling bag while compared to a luggage bag without having any wheels. It takes much energy to push it or to slide it. Now, by this we can conclude that sliding friction is always greater than rolling friction. I hope you are clear with what is rolling friction. Rolling friction is nothing but keep the wheels on the luggages, and sliding there is direct contact with the surfaces. And sliding friction is greater than rolling friction always. And these applications are very useful in order to reduce the friction. Now let us see one more thing, that is the wheels reduce the friction. Let us assume this as a wheel of a vehicle, right? And this is as a road or any platform. And this is a plastic utensil that is made up of plastic. Now if you observe that these tires having the highest strength materials, that means they have the capability of opposing the force of friction. They have higher intensity or higher capacity while compared to these plastic utensils, because these plastic utensils are bad conductors of heat. That means they can't resist when we keep the hot water or any things with higher temperature also, and at the same time they cannot oppose the frictional forces which are exhibited on the opposite direction, which are in contact with the surface of these utensils, right? Now, while compared to these tires which are made up of some good material as nylon, I think. For example, let us take these tires which are made up of a highly resistible material that is having more strength in order to reduce the frictional opposing. That is, these wheels are made up of the material structure synthetic rubber, and this synthetic rubber has two properties, such as it will be making the smoothing of the surface, which will reduce the friction, which is oppositively added to this. And the other factor is, previously I have said, if you remember that, the irregular surfaces, I have said already that, right? When these irregular surfaces will come in contact with these wheels have the resistance. That means they won't become wear and tear very fastly because of these synthetic rubbers. Okay? But when coming to these plastic ones, they will be used up very fastly. And we have learned regarding the rolling friction and sliding friction, and now we will be seeing that if at all any vehicle is traveling on the road will be spending or will be opposing force, that is known as frictional force, will be acted. And if at all any ships are traveling in water, at the same time the frictional force is acted by the water or towards the ships, and whenever any aeroplanes are traveling in air, the frictional force is acted or it is opposed the aeroplanes which are moving in the air. Therefore, we can conclude that even it is in solid or liquid or any gaseous forms, the frictional forces are active. Now the fluids are categorized as both liquids and gases. Now the frictional force acted by the fluids is said to be as drag. The frictional force which is exhibited by the fluids, that is liquids or gases, is said to be as drag. Okay. Now while coming to oils, we will be calling it as viscous force. Right? Because it is exhibited on the ground itself. So we will be calling it as such a way.